Hey everyone, welcome. So today we're going to dive into something that can be a real headache in construction lending, setting up a loan budget. We'll be walking through how to use nCino's Construction Loan Administration feature, you'll hear it called CLA, to make this whole process way simpler. Let's get right into it.
You know, if you've ever worked in construction lending, this probably looks a little too familiar. You're constantly juggling different programs, you're rekeying the same data into offline spreadsheets. It's just a mess of systems that don't talk to each other. It's a huge time sink, and honestly, it's just asking for errors. But what if I told you there's a better way? What if that entire process, from setting up the very first budget to tracking the final dollar out the door, could all happen in one single, streamlined place? Well, that's exactly the problem nCino's CLA feature was built to solve.
All right, so let's get into it. We're going to look at the challenge versus the solution, really breaking down that frustrating old way of doing things against the slick, integrated approach that nCino brings to the table.
And really, this slide says it all, doesn't it? The old way is all about fragmentation and headaches, but with nCino, it's all about bringing it together. You get one single place to manage the whole thing, which means you can finally say goodbye to all that tedious re-entering of data. It's an integrated system that's just built for a smoother workflow.
Okay, before we can actually build a budget, we need to get familiar with the building blocks, right? In nCino, these are called objects, and there are a few key ones you need to know that make all of this work so well.
First up, you've got the budget itself. Think of this as the main folder, or the master record for the whole project. It's the primary container that's going to hold all the financial details for that specific loan. It's basically the project's financial home.
And inside that home, that's where you find the budget line items. These are the nitty-gritty details, every single individual cost, from framing and trusses down to permits and land costs. Each one is categorized, and they all add up to your total budget.
You know, nCino's own documentation has this really great way of putting it. It says to think of the budget as the shell housing individual categorized budget line items. It's a perfect metaphor, right? The budget is the shell, and all those little cost items are tucked safely inside.
Now this next one, this is the real game changer, the budget template. This is basically a pre-made blueprint. It's a reusable budget that's already packed with all the typical line items you'd expect for, say, a new commercial construction project. This is where the magic of efficiency really kicks in.
So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, it all starts with phase one, which is really an admin's job. This is that classic do it once, benefit forever kind of task. You set up these reusable blueprints to save your team a ton of time down the line.
And creating the template shell is surprisingly easy. You just pop over to the Budgets tab, click New, give it a good clear name so everyone knows what it is, and then, this is the most important part, you have to check that little box that says Is Template. That's what tells nCino this is your blueprint, not a live budget for an actual loan. Okay, so once you have that shell, it's time to fill it up. You just go into your new template and start adding those line items one by one. For each one, you define its category, give it a description, and set a default amount. And what's really cool is you can set that amount as a fixed dollar value or as a percentage of the total project budget. Super flexible.
All right, so the admin has done their part. The blueprint is ready to go. Now we get to phase two, and this is what your users, your loan officers, your analysts will be doing on a day-to-day basis when a new loan comes across their desk.
And for the user, this is where it all pays off. It's so fast. You're on a new loan record, you just navigate to Budget Administration, pick the right template from a simple drop-down, type in the total budget for this specific project, and boom, you click Continue. We're talking seconds. And just like that, the system does all the heavy lifting for you. It instantly builds out the entire budget, pulling in all those preset line items from the template you chose. It's all there, ready for you to make any tweaks or customizations you might need for this specific loan. And this is what you get. This awesome budget summary view. Think of it as mission control for the loan's finances. At a glance, you can see the total budget, what's been allocated, what's left, and you get this great percentage breakdown by cost category. No more guesswork.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's a nice setup, but why does this really matter? Well, let's talk about the payoff. This is where all that initial groundwork really translates into success and, more importantly, control.
See, this is the crucial part. The budget isn't just some static document you create and then forget about. Not at all. It's the dynamic foundation for everything that comes next.
A properly set up budget is what unlocks the full power of nCino's draw and disbursement tracking. It's the engine that drives the whole process.
And you can see that power right here on the disbursement summary. As the project gets going and draws are made, this screen gives you a live, up-to-the-minute look at where the money is. You know exactly what's been paid out, what's pending, and most importantly, what's still available.
And that number right there, budget available, that's everything. That is total clarity and total control. At any given moment, the bank knows precisely where the project stands financially. No more digging through spreadsheets to find the answer, it's just there.
So let's just wrap this up with the key takeaways. What does all this get you? Well, first, you centralize your entire process in one place. You standardize your approach using templates, which saves a ton of time and ensures consistency. You get to visualize the project's financial health in real time. And at the end of the day, you empower your team to handle these complex loans with a whole new level of confidence and efficiency.
So there you have it. Your budget is locked in, everything is crystal clear, and the foundation is set. The only real question left is, are you ready to streamline your first draw?